What is up, guys? Ep.42 here, and welcome back to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. Last time we left off, Lilly finally headed to Scotland in the last episode. I believe she's still here, but she's leaving tonight in the game. Boy. One can pray for a happy ending, but Lord knows what this game's gonna throw at me. So, I just want to get right back into this. Don't want to be upset. Let's just keep her going, alright? So, yep, let's jump back in. Yeah, I think that's just how she is. She's got a lot more confidence in herself these days, though. I don't know her as well as you do, but I think I agree. It's nice to see her talking to people here. She never used to be like... She never used to do that before. Hey, Yuko. You know about Lily's leaving, right? She told me herself a few days ago it must be hard, leaving everyone behind like she is. She quickly looks back to me after she says this, probably remembering that I went to her for advice on the relationship between Lily and me before. Are you going to be okay? That's a difficult question. It's something I'd rather not think about for now, though, giving more pressing issues. Something seems kind of off about this whole deal, don't you think? Yuka appears to think for a while, absentmindedly scrunching her face up in a variety of creative ways as she does so. I don't think I really know her well enough to make that kind of judgment. I'm sorry I can't be more help. Nah, it's fine. I'm just sort of thinking out loud. I give a deep sigh and scratch my head in frustration. There's just so much happening at once that I have no control over. It feels like I'm being swamped. I think everyone goes through times like that. What's important is to concentrate on what you can do, rather than what you can't do. At least, that's how I see it. If I didn't think like that, I don't think I'd be able to manage my life as it is. She says it with a smile and a light tone, but her words are far from any kind of joke. Being pulled between two jobs as she is, just to hopefully make enough money not only to live, but also for university must be exhausting. Perhaps that's why, coming from her, this feels like it has more meaning than if it had come from most others. I guess we've got a point there. Thank you for your advice once again, Yuko. She bows deeply and smiles again, before making her way back to the counter, where she spends most of her time. The tiny wings of the cardboard crane in my fingers are only just visible in the dim light of my room. Just a little of the moonlight being able to peek through the curtains around their edges. I lie still in my dark bed for a long time, idle looking up at the tiny origami bird. It feels like a lot's happening since Lily folded this, but at the same time it feels like very little has changed. Compared to everyone else, I'm back to square one. I might have a newfound idea of where I want to go in life, but that's hardly something that affects me now. Hanako changed, I know that much. If anything, she just makes me feel like I've got no excuse to be like this, considering her previous situation. Lily, though. I turn the bird in my fingers another way, looking at it from yet another angle. When I first met her, she seemed aloof and perhaps somewhat distant. Her actions were always careful, measured, and precise, and her carefully maintained composure always gave the same appearance of an unerring confidence and serenity. In time, she became less formal. Just a bit, but enough. It felt good to see her lowering her inhibitions around me and opening up, even just a little, of her own accord. It felt as if I was seeing her real self slowly become more vibrant and visible. Now, though, I'm beginning to have doubts. Perhaps they're to be expected after what is, effectively, the two of us breaking up. They don't feel new or strange, though, but rather like an old book being found and dusted off. I soon realized after meeting Lily that she saw me as she did Hanako, as someone who needed help and care. At first, I simply thought that we'd be fine as friends, helping each other through our limited time together in school. But then I began to treasure our moments together more and more, from our quiet walks to our talking over lunch. The good sides of her personality became even more obvious and even more likable. The absence caused by Lily's trip to Scotland to visit her long-distance family and sick aunt only made me realize how much I liked just being around her, and I had thought that she felt a similar way. For her, though, maybe that wasn't everything to our relationship. Even after she returned to Japan, that just meant she lost her family once again after meeting them for such a brief time. She lived so much of her life without her family around, not to mention with Akira working long hours, that she had little choice but to be like that. I thought of her sense of independence to be a good and admirable trait. It was in stark difference to my reliance on my parents before my heart attack, as reluctant as I may have been to admit it. However, it also meant that she never let people get too close to her. She lost her family likely due to her blindness, went to a different school from anybody she knew because of it, and worked all the harder to make sure she didn't end up a burden on her sister and those around her. And now, Akira's going to Inverness just like the family she thought she'd lost. She never told me her plans, as conflicted as she was about them. Lilly didn't want to be a burden on anyone, including me. I'm an idiot. I never questioned it. I never tried to be there or asked when she needed me to. I just set my life up and expected it to stay that way forever, with the two of us having a nice long relationship where we pushed forward towards our future together. A small pit of frustration and anger at myself wells up in my chest. I just let everything happen, never even trying to help Lilly. Just her being there were enough. I thought I could keep going on if that was true. But that could never have been enough. It was a childlike dependence on somebody, without any attempt to understand or help their situation. Thanks to that, I lost Lilly. I lost the one person I loved most because I wasn't there for her when she needed me. With an increasingly angry feeling washing over me, I turned and set the crane back on the desk next to my clock, the place where it has lived since that day when she folded it for me. Since that day when she herself said that my burdens needed to be my own. The obnoxious bright red numerals on my alarm clock shine through the darkness of the room onto my tired eyes. 10 o'clock, evening. Curfew will be soon. I wonder. The crew mentioned they'd be leaving this evening. I have no idea exactly when their flight is, but that means there's a chance, however small, that they might not have left already. Adrenaline starts to move through my body as I sit up on my bed, my eyes suddenly wide in possibility. There's no guarantee they haven't left. Indeed, it's likely that they already have. But there's also a small chance they haven't, however small it may be. Just this once, just as I should have before. I stand up and rush over to my cabinet, throwing out some clothes as fast as I can, sliding them on in quick succession. I'll be going after her. Each second that goes by is a second that I can't regain, a second that may mean the difference between catching them and losing them forever. Even if I fail, I have to try. I can't let her leave with everything behind without even trying to stop her. Without just this once being there for her. At the last time my clothes slipped on, I hastily grabbed the phone on the desk. Luckily, the number for a local taxi company is still in my call history. A gruff, enthusiastic voice answers the name of the company while I pace around the room. It takes some effort to slow down my voice and keep it clear over the phone. The chilly night air sweeps against me as I open the dormitory door. But nevertheless, I keep up my brisk speed as I half jog, half run out of the school gates. We going after her! Good! Let's go! Let's get her! It may not be curfew just yet, but it's precariously close. There were guard around, they didn't know about Beam's questions for me, but it looks like I've managed to come out just before they arrive, or they're around a corner. My pace picks up as I make my way through the school gardens. Their nighttime allure all but lost when I begin to run to the school gate. The lamps of the courtyard, dim as they are, provide just enough illumination to light the way and prevent me from tripping over. The buildings themselves take on a rustic, almost antique-looking edge when I glance at them. Let's go get her. My throat is killing me, because I've been playing this all day, and I haven't stopped talking. Looking back, it seems strange that they once appeared so dark and looming to me. Now they just look to be somewhat anachronistic school buildings, the same as any other bars their age. Leaving the gates behind me, I pull up to a stop just before the taxi, parked just as Akira's car had been. Its godly and brightly lit sign looks out of place in the quiet country backdrop. I impatiently squeeze myself through the door, giving the order their address for where the two should hopefully be staying. Oh, we're at their house. By the time the taxi pulls up after its trip, at maddeningly casual speed, it's well and truly deep into the night. The house is truly enormous. Its sheer size, much larger than I expected, and obviously still. Fearing the worst, I asked the driver to stay just in case my efforts are for naught. A single press on the fancy intercom system outside the door produces a short, electronic melody in the otherwise silent road. It's not long before a somewhat deep, gruff voice can be heard from it. This is the Hakamachi residence. Please state your name and why you're bothering us this late. I press on despite inward wincing at the reasonable annoyance audible in his voice. It's Hisao Nakai. I was hoping to meet Lilly or Akira if they're still here. Surprisingly, I managed to summon quiet and some energy into my voice, enough to make the other side of the intercom silent. A few seconds pass, but just before I press the button again and ask what's going on, a light turns on outside the front door. I strain my eyes to try and make out who is coming through, but as he comes past the largely parked car with the fishing rod sticking out of the back, his identity becomes clear. His face is typically placid and emotionless as he saunts up to the gate. He's still childlike in his mannerisms, despite his demeanor. With the press of a few buttons from behind the fence, the gate slowly opens. Oh, Tedakai. Hisao? What are you doing here? I think this is the most emotion I've ever had from his voice. Not that it would be hard to reach that mark. Akira told me that she and Lilly would be staying here before they left for their flight. I need to talk to Lilly just one last time. Are they still here? The look on his face says everything. I failed. I was too late. The one time when I actually needed to act quickly and... Actually, it's possible. What? What is it? He's a bit taken aback by my fervor, but I can't help it at this point. They left not long ago, only a few minutes before you arrived, in fact. If you go straight to the airport, you might be able to... Hisao? I dart back towards the waiting taxi, grabbing what little money is left in my pocket as I go. Thanks, Nakai! With that, I take a seat, and in short order, bark out my destination. We are rushing after this girl. My chest beats wildly as I tear down the street, my body twisting this way and that to slip between the pedestrians walking back and forth beside me. With the road silently blocked by taxis and other cars, dropping off passengers and picking up others in the time they have to wait, we ended up having to stop almost a block away. But that's in the past now. What matters is reaching Lilly. One foot is the ground, the other quickly following, without the slightest thought, as if my legs have taken on a life of their own and all my mind can do is concentrate on the view ahead of me. Just one glimpse of that long hair of hers, that long yellow hair that was the same color as the wheat that stretched as far as the eye could see. In the end, I depended on Lilly, just like Hanako did. Even after we started going out, it still doesn't feel like she really never ever let herself depend on me. Except for one moment, that one moment where we held each other tightly on the bright yellow field. At that time, she must have feared losing me just as she did everyone else. That's why, just this once, the night air wraps around me, draining every last remnant of warmth out of my body, to the extent that it feels like more like midwinter than a summer night. My fingers, my hands, my feet, they're all feeling increasingly cold. The sound of passing crowds is reduced to no more than a background hum, while the sound of my shoes hitting the pavement echoes loudly, every step surging towards the person I have to catch. Forced by my chest tightening in response to the cold of the night, I rest my arm over it and settle it down. When the airport comes into view, though, I realize this feeling as one I've felt before. Not now, of all the times for this, please not now. I take a gulp and soldier on regardless, pushing my body as far as it will go. Sweat pours off me as I hurtle forward, my shoulder hitting someone's side and my mind suddenly floating with emotions and memories. I continue on without an apology. I have to keep moving now. If I stop, I'm not sure I could begin again. And even if I could, it would all be for naught if I'm not in time. I hit another person, then another, offering little resistance to getting bounced about. My feet feel numb. My arms are losing all feeling. My chest forced me to hunch over awkwardly, tightening even more. That afternoon in the snow, the time when my life irreversibly changed, images of Iwanako and that damned letter flash over and over in my mind. The first love I'd lost thanks to my condition. I can't let that happen again. I don't care what happens to me anymore. I just need to see her one last time. There! A silver of yellow and white comes into view some distance down the road. Her figure silhouetted by the lights emanating from the airport entrance. Lilly! Lilly! Lilly, stop, please, Lilly. Come on, Lilly. I know you're here far beyond Gah! My view suddenly spins out of control and ends up on the ground, my body haphazardly sprawled after hitting someone and stumbling over. Before I can assess the damage, an unbelievable pain ignites in my body. All my thoughts are blanked as I curl up and frantically clutch at my chest. Are you okay? That was a really bad fall. This pain, I can't. Any sharp knock could do me in. Any overexertion. I thought I could overcome my limits this one. Something's wrong with him. What's the matter, Art? The voices of those gathering around me are gradually replaced by a loud ringing in my ears. By now, I'm unable to move my head. My eyes turn upwards to see them moving up their lips. Even as I clutch my chest, I realize I can't feel my fingers anymore, nor my feet. It feels like my entire body is shutting down, starting from my extremities. With one last effort, I turn my head down the road towards the airport entrance that's casting its light over me. Lily is there behind the crown, her head is tilted, but only just slightly. I can feel my vision dimming as I try to yell out, but nothing emerges from my mouth despite my best efforts. Slowly but surely, my vision begins to black out the scene before me. So, this is how it ends. I failed. I was so close, so very close, but at the very last moment my condition seized my chance at a new life and dragged me back. Now I'm going to die, sprawled out just meters from an airport, with a crowd of babbling people surrounding me, and with Lily leaving for Scotland just a little distance ahead. Lily. That last word extinguishes the last of my energy. The world falls into a deep inescapable blackness as every muscle in my body shuts down. I'm sorry, Lilly. I was too late. Wow. Your boy had a heart attack in the airport. Shit. What's going on? So I slowly open my eyes, a bright white light assaults my retinias? I don't know how to pronounce that. For minutes I just lay where I am, mindlessly staring ahead while my scattered thoughts coalescence in my slowly waking mind. Slowly but surely, the white begins to come into focus as a bare expanse begins to be drawn across my field of vision. It's only when the light fixture comes into view that my mind clicks that this is the ceiling above me. I'm in the hospital. Slowly levering myself up, I slightly absorb through all my senses the details of the room I'm in. The smell and taste of strong bleach hang in the air, lending the impression of a place just slightly too clean to be natural. Inoffensive pale peach-colored walls, all perfectly painted without a crack, stain, or imperfection. A single framed painting hangs on the wall, perfectly straightened like the walls. It's as boring and inoffensive as can be. My attention's grabbed by the translucent curtain waving across my vision. My eyes follow it to the open window it's covered. When I move my right arm to try and lift myself up and look through it, I can feel the gathering dig in comfortably. It's only now that I notice the cannula tubes winding around my cheek and sliding into my nose. After some fidgeting, I settle for just looking around the corner of the window. Beyond the thick leaves of several large trees, I can see the greenery below, backing out into a field. A customary island of green on the outskirts of the city. Judging by the sun outside, it's new. Of which day, though, I'm not sure. So, I'm in a hospital once again. I let out a long, tired breath as I try to collect my scattered thoughts, my mind seemingly cast in a dozen directions all at once with as many emotions running through me. After slowly lying back down, I decide to start at the beginning, why I'm here. I cast my mind back, but I can't work out a smooth recollection of what happened. The events of last night, or whichever night it was, come back as a series of snapshots than any coherent memory. Lying in my bed, looking at the origami bird. Talking to Hidekai outside the Hakamachi residence. Running down the street, passing pedestrians, bumping into more and more of them. Falling. Looking up at a serenely bright airport entrance, seeing Lily's back as I lay on the ground. Sounds of the private room suddenly feels overwhelming. So that's it. I had my chance to correct my mistake and I blew it. Whether I was at fault for neglecting my medication and disregarding to pace myself, my body was for giving out too soon. It doesn't matter now. All that matters is that, once again, I'm alone. The pastel blue pillow yields with little restraint as I let myself fall back onto the bed, its starchy case, along with the starchy sheets providing little comfort. Compared to the darkness of last night's events, the bright light of the room around me is striking. All it does, though, is empathize how otherworldly places like this are. Arrhythmia. A strange word, a foreign alien one that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. It causes the heart. This is exactly the same thing from the beginning. It's the exact same sentences, I believe. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. It was a miracle they were able to go on so long without anything happening, they said. And then it did. My condition had taken away everything. My old school was of no importance anymore. My home was reduced to a faraway place. Both my friends and my first love simply stopped visiting after this length of time. I became cynical and embittered. Distant and subdued. In my defense, no person could avoid that after such a thing happened to them, but nonetheless, I left the hospital as a very definably changed person. Things changed. I made new friends in Hanako, Shizune, and Misha. I found a new sense of home in my dormitories, a new interest in science and the world around me, and I found a direction to my life that I had never felt before. But I'd also discovered other things. The sense of isolation in Yamaku and its surrounds was not entirely unwelcome. The quiet giving a peace of mind I might not have found elsewhere, but it gave the area of a feeling of being pushed out of the way, of being kept out of sight. People in the streets would sometimes glance awkwardly or quickly turn their heads as they realized they were staring. Even if my condition was visible, my uniform was. Even if it weren't, I was still different. I took 17 pills a day, morning, midday, and night. My scar, though hidden behind my clothes, was still a permanent mark of my condition, and most of all, there was the very real possibility of death. A bad fall, an absent-minded hard hit on the back. A simple sprint taken too far. Anything could have set my heart off, and several times I teetered on the edge of the abyss, even with all the care I took of myself. That was fine. I could have lived with all that. Because there was one final thing I'd found, or rather, refound after re-entering Yamaku, which was once again snatched away before my eyes. It's only now that I realize just how delicate my newfound sense of happiness was. Everything depended on her, the linchpin of my life since I first entered Yamaku as a sullen, confused, and aimless transfer student. Lilly Sitao was the first person I could depend upon above all others, and who reciprocated the love that I felt for her. But I failed her, and only realized it all too late. I thought that I could just set my life up and continue that way forever, but the real world doesn't like that. I finally realized the meaning of those words, only to be struck down as I confronted my failure to do so in time. The surroundings I'm in are all too familiar. It's as if Yamaku was but a dream, and I'm still recovering from my first major heart attack. Maybe that's why I feel so tired. It feels almost as if I've lived the entire last few months of my life in the space of minutes. Alright, we're going to end off here, guys. I think we might have one more episode left of this series, so I'm kind of curious to see what happens from here on out. We tried to get up to Lilly, but we couldn't get to her in time, and we kind of KO'd from the heart attack. So yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. My guess is the next episode will probably be the last. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Ep.42, and I will see you all next time.